Talk about the database, the first thing that comes in our mind is either it's an SQL or it's a NoSQL. So SQL we already know because we have studied that during our college time, that SQL has a schema, tables and records, and the SQL also has a the relations between the multiple tables, and it also has a feature of normalizations. So what it does, it makes sure that every piece of data is stored only once in the all the tables. So this is the normally how the SQL works. But there are a lot of limitations with the SQL. Like for example, the number of fields in the records are fixed. And it can't be possible that one record has a 3 fields and another record has a 4 fields. Like for example, let's say this is my table 1 and this table has a 3 fields and this is my table. So it can't be possible that one record has a 3 columns and another record has a 4 columns, and then similarly another record has a 5 columns. So basically it have a fixed number of records. It has a fixed number of fields in a particular record. So that's the limitations in case of SQL. Also, you must have a clear schema for the relational databases. And whenever we do the multiple queries operations, then in case of SQL, as it has a multiple relations, so it is very difficult to execute those queries, and sometimes those queries become very slow. So like in case of SQL, you have multiple tables like T1, T2, T3 and so on. And all these tables are linked together with the help of foreign key. So there is a relations between all the tables. So that's why whenever you have to query a one particular table, you need to communicate with all the different tables. And that's why sometimes query become very slow in case of SQL. So due to these limitations, people started using NoSQL. NoSQL can be used for a scalable projects as it can store the large amount of data. In fact, there are 4 big NoSQL types, and those are, the first thing is key value DB. So key value DB is one of the type of NoSQL, and the key value stores are least complex of the NoSQL databases. They are, as the name suggests, is the collections of key value pair. The value in the key stores can be anything, like we can store the strings, or in fact we can store the entire new set of key value pairs encapsulated in an object. Like for example, this is a simple key value pair where you have a string as a key and the value also as a string. Similarly, the key is a string and the value can be integers. But we can have an entire new set of key value pair also present as a value inside a key value pair. Like consider this case. This is also key value DB. In this particular case, you have a key as a data and value as a this key values set of pairs. Inside this value, we can also have a key value like this. And inside this value also we have a key value. So we can have a nested key value pair also present inside it. So mostly Redis use these type of NoSQL databases. Then we have another option, that is document DB. So consider this example. Let's say this is an article of a particular website, and in that article you can have a comments. Similarly, you can have a reply also for that comment. You can have a article. You can also have an author. All this information present into this particular article. Now in this article, if I want to store this into a relational database, so the relational database chop up the data and create multiple relational databases where every table linked with the foreign key. Like for example, I need to create one comment table. Similarly, I need to create one reader table, then author table, article table. So multiple tables I need to create by chopping up this data in this article. And every table is linked with the other table with the foreign keys. So it's a very complex structure and we cannot scale this particular databases. So just to overcome that, we use the NoSQL databases. And in that NoSQL database, document DB is perfect example. Mostly nowadays, in case of scalable model, people use the document DB. So in the document DB, we have the databases, then we have a collections, and then inside the collections, we have the documents. Like for example, consider this case. We always represents document DB as a JSON. So if you see, we have the article, and in that article, we have arrays of articles. This symbol, basically this symbol represents as an array of objects, and this represents the single object in case of JSON. So document DB always represented as a JSON, and we can have a multiple articles. So let's say this is the one article. It starts from here till here. Now inside this article, we can have title, article ID, body, author and everything. And then you can have an array of comments. So this is also an array of comments. And inside the comments, we can also have a replies. So if you see, we are not creating the different tables, but we are creating that in the form of JSON, where we can record millions and billions of informations. How? Because just by using the JSON, we can insert the information as much as we required. Please note that in case of relational database, we have a fixed schema. But in case of NoSQL, we don't have any fixed schema. So what this means is, in this article, we can have a comments, or in another article, we cannot have any comment. It can have a blank value. So we don't have a fixed, constant information inside a schema of a NoSQL databases. So inside the comment, you can have a replies or you cannot have a replies. In fact, inside a comment, you can have a 10 replies, or in another article, inside the comment, you can have a millions of replies. So everything is actually very flexible in case of document DB. So mostly MongoDB is used this kind of architecture.